So this is little bit of a interesting question, and why I'm asking you this also I'll tell you in advance, because I feel now from the start that we have started, you are little bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
So this is little bit of an interesting question which I would like to get your perspective on. Okay. You've been married for 6-7 years that you said, right? There is a lot of many marriages that don't go well, many marriages that probably end up getting broken or something, right? End up in a divorce or something. I find you a strong-headed woman, at least from this conversation. Uh, what is your perspective or your point of view? Why this is happening in today's time? When India was supposed to be or is still, the lowest divorce rates in the world, but it is increasing. It is still the lowest, but it is increasing at a fast pace. So, what is the reason, or just from your point of view, what is
See, one thing could be that it's not that people were not unhappy in their marriages before also. There were a lot of incidents in the past also. We would have cases in our own family where people have not really been happy with their respective spouses, because तभी तो क्या arranged marriage था यार, you barely know the person and you end up getting married to them, and eventually you realize that नहीं जम रहा है, but you still stick it out because that's how the Indian society overall was. Divorce was a very very rare phenomenon, and you really need to have a lot of courage to say back in the 80s or 90s say that my marriage is not working and I really need to get out of this. That was really unheard of. Very few cases here and there, and that was a lot to do with the fear of the society, what people would say, for women especially, that I'll have to go back to my parents' house, and again the same thing, bigger burden to them, unko log kya kahenge, and stuff like that, right? So people thought no, it's okay, let's just continue this, especially if you have a kid. Like, at least for the sake of the kid, let's just
kid तो
continue
एक ही
till
साल
the
में it was done.
exactly.
So then
it was not a scenario like now where
Yeah.
people easily wait for 3-5
Postpone,
years
yeah.
and then have a kid. So it was a very different environment back then. I think what's happening now, and to some extent, if that sort of a scenario prevails, then it's a positive thing as well. That if you realize that you're not in a happy relationship, or it turned out to be something else than what was originally projected, then it just makes sense to split your ways, and rather than things becoming extremely unlivable, or like constantly hampering your own mental peace, right? I mean, it's not worth it at the end of the day. I mean, you're constantly fighting with somebody, then there are cases where things get really brutal, right? There's domestic violence, then there's all sort of crime that happens against men, women, both. So just don't end up in this, might as well not end up in that situation. Take a logical step a step before, and just decide if it moves your separate way. So that could be one thing, and it's just that now people are a lot more confident, that they care less about the society now compared to the previous times. And other thing is that women are also a lot more independent now. Earlier there were very handful number of women who would join the workforce, have a career. Now there are majority of the women that you see around, married, unmarried, right? They are, a lot of them are independent, and they are quite driven. I mean, it's okay if everybody's goal is not to become a CEO or a partner, but
they're driven in that.
Yeah, they're driven in the fact that I want an independent life because I want to live life on my terms. So I think there is a significant generational shift in how the previous generation would think versus our generation. Previous generation was a lot more focused on that, like, let me look after my family, that I don't come first.
It was they versus me.
Correct.
Now,
So,
it's become me.
Now it's primarily become me. So because पहले के ज़माने में क्या था, your moms or fathers, everybody would be like, नहीं, let me do this for my parents, my siblings, and my kids, and this and that. And now the whole shift is that, and they used to not. I mean, and it is probably the standard case across all our parents, right? They've really not lived a life that they should have. They've just sacrificed their time, their early years, just to give you in their kids a better life, right? And that is a complete generational shift in our generation, where everybody is that, okay, I want to provide for my family, I want to accumulate enough that I can support them well, but at the same time I don't want to be in a situation that where I am 60 and I'm regretting that, oh, what have I lived in my life for. Like, you may have achieved things financially and stuff like that, but if you really think of the times that you were really happy and you did things for yourself, वैसे वाले instances you probably can't count too much. So I think our whole generation does not want to live like that. They want to have that balance of uh, living for myself plus living for my family.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I think that's very important. I think that they versus me, that shift has happened
Yeah.
very drastically. Where earlier it was about them, it was about us, and now it's more about me. I think that is something which is, especially in the metros, I would say,
Yeah, all the more.
where
Yes.
there are more affluent young couples.
Correct. Who have that exposure
Yeah,
also.
who have that exposure also. I also feel there's a lot of exposure to, because of social media, because of what they read and what they are watching. I think the decision making has become much more faster.
Yeah.
I also feel the patience level has decreased because of social media and because of many other things also, where you are not being patient with the other person, with the other partner. And also, I feel that there is a lot of things that you need to do this as per me. Matlab, how I want you to be, you should try to be like that. Like one spouse to the other spouse. So that becomes like you don't give that space to that person, basically. So this is what I think I have noticed in few people. Not that marriages have gone sour or something, or they've got the divorce, but I've seen couples end up doing this kind of a thing where they are not giving that space to the spouse, to his partner or her partner, that okay, you are like this, it's okay, not a problem. It's not that you have to do this because I want to do this or something like that. I feel that becomes little too controlling from one point.
And also, I mean, like you said, because of social media, this whole thing about comparison comes into picture, right? And especially if you see that the others are living life in a certain way, in a certain fashion, or probably they're just proclaiming their love too much on the social media, and then you are introspecting that, oh, is it like this in my life? Are we disconnected or whatever,
मेरा husband तो ये करता ही
हाँ
नहीं
कुछ
ऐसा.
करता नहीं, does he feel the same way about me and stuff like that. So वो थोड़ा एक तो you also have to be able to see के दिखावा क्या है, reality क्या है, and just not compare completely in everything into every scenario. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't. I'm also guilty of doing that. But yeah, that is an advice that I also keep getting, especially from my husband, that it's okay. At times, you really should not compare how other people are and what your life is, because everybody's situation is very different. But yes, the point is there that people are maybe probably less patient in this generation compared to previous ones.
Because of social media, because of Amazon, you want everything instantly, right? So
the reels,
the
TikTok,
reels, this, that, ordering everything in 2 days, coming to your place, Uber. So that has made you very impatient. You cannot wait for a cab now. You cannot wait for your spouse to become a little better, or give him that whatever, that freedom,
Space, yes.
space, freedom, etc.